She puts the wow, yum into words. It's the Lafayette food junkie herself on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou. Here we talk about all the food happenings around Acadiana. If you like food, tune in. You might learn something new. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Festival International is winding down. There's about, I want to say maybe an hour left of the event, and then it'll be gone for another year. I've been camped out there the past 5 days, I want to say. Travis Goche with Zoom Photo Studio has been a gracious host, as he was last year when I camped out there for Olive Festival. And I have an interview with him a little later in the show where we're kind of, talk about food, because yes, he is a photographer, but he also very much loves to eat. So we'll talk about that a little later in the show. So much food over the past 5 days, so much food, so much alcohol. I'm planning on taking the next month off from food writing and kind of doing a little bit of a detox, I call it, where I'm going to kind of cut alcohol, kind of cut meat a little bit, up the veggie intake, and try to focus on being healthy for a month out. And Festival International was the way to do it big before, I go into doing that. So we're gonna talk about some of the things that I ate over the past 5 days, and then we'll have some recorded interviews with some people that I interviewed out at Festival International. One of the big things that happened this year is Pops Po' Boys, who always will take something and then put their spin on it and kind of make it 100 times better. They announced that they were doing something called a crawfish mac bowl. And it's their already amazing macaroni and cheese. They put crawfish in it. They put it in a Longlanais bread bowl, toasted it. And it was kind of an alternative to the spinach boat that is synonymous with Festival International. Festival Acadiana always has the spinach boat as well that Bon Creole puts out. And social media kind of had some fun with it, and they kind of took sides. If you were team spinach boat, team crawfish mac boat. Wednesday night, I became team crawfish mac boat. It was really good. Wednesday night was one of the nights of festival that it rained, so I didn't get to go out there as much as I would have liked to. But I made a point to go to Pops and get that was the first thing that I ate at festival this year. It tasted to me like a crawfish fettuccine. And I actually told them that I feel like they didn't even have to put the crawfish in it. Like, it would have still been amazing and over the top if it would have just been the macaroni and cheese in there with the toasted bread. What I liked about it was very, very cheesy and creamy. And I liked the toasted factor of the bread, which as you ate the pasta out, you could kind of break pieces of the bread bowl off and kind of scoop it and use it as a utensil and eat it as you went along. It was really nice. It inspired me to write a blog post, which you can go to blogger.com, search Lafayette Food Junkie, or if you want to make it easier, go to Facebook, Lafayette Food Junkie, and find me on Facebook as Lafayette Food Junkie, I should say. And the blog post is up there of why I became team crawfish mac over the spinach boat. I saw the crawfish mac all over my newsfeed. People made a profile of the crawfish mac. I saw somebody make like a fake tender with the crawfish mac. So it kind of became an overnight sensation. Somebody was asking me today too if it was going to be left on the menu, but I said no. I think it's pretty much just a festival thing. So I'm curious to see if they bring it back next year or if they do something, to top that for next year. I am so glad that I went Wednesday night though, because when I passed by last night as I was leaving festival, there was a huge line And I was talking to some people in the crowd, and they were telling me that they had waited 30 to 45 minutes for the crawfish boat. That's how you know how serious we are in Lafayette about our food, is that you will wait 45 minutes in line for a crawfish mac boat. That's how we roll here in Acadiana. That's how you know that we're serious about our food. Another great thing that I got to try, and I was trying to interview him, is the owner of Bombo Jerk, which is one of the food trucks in town. And I gravitated to the food trucks in the beer garden a lot during festival, because a lot of the festival vendors have almost the same thing, where it's a lot of fried food and it gets really heavy and too much, and it's good and amazing, but there comes a point where you're like, I don't want fried food anymore. So I kind of ate a lot at the food vendors in the beer garden. So Bombo Jerk is a food truck that is in Lafayette, and it's a Jamaican food truck. You can go and find them on Facebook and check them out. They do jerk chicken, they do wraps, they do plates. Well, he was doing a Jamaican curry chicken, which was served over jasmine rice for a festival, and it was really light. Curry's heavy, but the jasmine rice, compared to like to fried food, it was a lighter choice. It wasn't really heavy on the curry. Some people may be scared off when they see curry and think it's going to be super spicy. It wasn't. It was really mild. It was a mild curry. Really nice, super filling, huge portion. I believe it was $8. Huge portion for what you got. Like 2 people could have eaten it and been fine. And I remember I ate that Friday night of festival, and it was pretty much the only thing I ate that night because it was so filling. So if you guys have not checked out Bombo Jerk yet, you guys need to go and find them on Facebook, follow them to see when they're out and about. I know that they're normally at the Food Truck Roundup every month, but he also goes different places throughout the week. So check them out on Facebook and start following them so you can see where they're going to be next. Another exciting thing that happened is Tsunami was doing $30 whiskey flights, which you're like, okay, whiskey flights. And then you see what whiskeys are available on these whiskey flights, and then you get a little more interesting. Marshall Kemp, who's been on the show, and he was this year's Clash of the Cocktail winner again, so he's won 2 years in a row. He told me he's been hoarding his collection of Pappies at the restaurant. So the whiskey flights were predominantly Pappies, different versions of Pappies, and then Japanese whiskeys. So I got to try a 15-year Pappy, a 20-year Pappy, and a Japanese whiskey that you can no longer get in the United States for $30, which was a steal. So I kind of tried to make it a point anytime I saw somebody out at festival that I knew was a whiskey fan to let them know about this, because how often are you going to get to try a 20-year Pappy for virtually $10? It was pretty much like $10 a shot. You got like a little shot of it, but it was really nice. I actually happen to like the 15-year Pappy better than the 20. It's a little lighter. It has a little bit more of a sweeter taste to it. The 20-year is darker in color, and it's got more of an oaky flavor to it. So some people think older is better. In this case, for me with Pappy, I like the 15 better than the 20. All right, we are going to take our first break, and when we come back, we're going to have the interview that I did with Travis Goche. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL.
And now, the Lafayette Food Junkie Show, served up medium rare every Sunday night.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and we've been recapping Festival International 2016. You got about 45 minutes left if you are downtown at Festival. As I said earlier in the show, second year in a row that Zoom Photo Studios, which Travis Goche is the owner, hosted me as my my home base for festival this year. Travis Gauthier is a good friend of mine. He's a wonderful photographer, and he's also an avid music lover, and he likes food. He prefers to cook more than he does to eat out, and he will tell you all the wonders of where to dine out on Moss Street. He took me on a tour of Moss Street one time, but he's, as I learned from the interview, he's been shooting at Festival International for 20 years. This year was the 30th anniversary of Festival International. So he has a lot to say about festivals. So we're going to go to our interview with him now. Thanks for joining us tonight, Travis.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Okay, so you've eaten a lot of places with me throughout all of festival. What has been some of your favorites?
I kind of hit my standards every year. There's some that come out. One of the places, Phil Asian Kitchen, which everybody loves. Interesting to me that they actually don't have any other. That's the thing. That's like it only exists as a festival booth. And I like the idea that some of our local restaurants actually started as festival booths, and people moved here after coming for festival. I like the bacon wrapped shrimp at the Phil Asian Kitchen is one of my favorites. I did get the quesadillas at Crazy Claus, and those were actually really delicious. Pretty good portion. I think I might go back and have those char-grilled oysters because that's a pretty good portion for. You get 6 for what is it, $7?
Yeah,
that's pretty good with French bread. You can't get that at a restaurant for that. And what else did I have? I forgot. Okay, so.
You had some poutine?
I had poutine. Oh, we from our new local downtown, the Worst Beer Garden. And that was good. I think it could have used a little more gravy. That's just me, but it was good. It did remind me. We were missing some poutine in Lafayette, I believe. And I'm missing one more. Oh, boudin from Lagno's, which was kind of spicy. I was surprised that in a kind of a diverse crowd kind of thing, they didn't hit some spice, which is fine with me because I'm a spicy kind of person. And I was going to talk about also the drink vendors, the volunteers for festival. The ones that sling the drinks, the bartenders, are all volunteers, and there's probably, I know at least 2 of them that are crews that work the booths that are the same crew that have been like dedicated to working these booths. So shout out to the volunteers that bartend. My buddy Mike Bass runs a crew on the Friday night at one of the stages. I think at least 5 years they've been doing it, or more, probably almost 10. So it's the same volunteers that have been doing this for a good while, and so shout out to them.
You were making fun of me Wednesday night when I got to festival because I was talking about the crawfish mac and cheese bowl. But you went with me over there to Pops. I'm so glad that we did it early because the lines that have been coming, I think people have said it's been like a 30 to 45 minute wait. So I'm really glad that we went Wednesday night and we got like the first batch of it. And I've become team crawfish mac, which I feel like you would be team crawfish mac anyway because you don't like spinach.
I'm not a spinach person, so I'm team crawfish mac. I think it's like a crawfish fettuccine. Well, it's a kind of it's funny because I make kind of a version of crawfish fettuccine that's more a darker, like cheesy sauce than that. So that's what's kind of awesome about it. It was really good. The bread was really good, of course. Pops always has the great bread. But yeah, it was on point. And when I tell you that Tiffany was obsessed with going get that thing, like she was at festival as early as possible, like obsessed. She got here, helped me hang a couple of pictures, and then was like, so when we gonna get that bread bowl?
I feel like my obsession with that is your obsession with the Philasian place because you talk about it every year. Like you're so obsessed with the Philasian. It only
exists for festival. It's like goes away for a year.
Hey, you know what? I get it. People come for the music or they come for the food. I'm a person that comes for the food. I come for the things that you can only get during festival. So I totally get that.
Some of the stuff, I mean, it's local stuff, and so some of the stuff you can pretty much get around town. But I mean, I'm looking around at most of the stuff. Some stuff is not my cup of tea, but I can't even imagine that there's any vendor that serves anything that's not good. I mean, it won't survive if they don't, you know. So pretty much you walk up to any of the place, pick one of the 4, and you're good to go.
You also split some pulled pork nachos with me today from Blanchard's Barbecue. What did you think of those?
Those were good. They were a little smoky. They had a nice smoked pork. I like them a little hotter, but that's just me. I'd probably throw some hot sauce on there, but you're not a hot sauce person.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for a minute. That Travis is obsessed with hot sauce, and he collects bottles, and the hotter the better. He's one of those primo pepperheads.
Kinda. There's some guys that are more hardcore. Like, is it Chadwick that did the competition? Those guys are the real chili heads. The one that went do the competition last week. But I'm an old friend of Primo's, and so he he schooled me on some of the hotter stuff. So I do throw some hotter stuff in there sometimes for some meals.
How long have you been shooting at Festival?
I've actually been shooting, I guess, so probably I'm guessing the first time that I shot for a festival would have been 20 years ago.
And they're just having the 30th anniversary of it, so it's been about 20 years.
Right. I just shoot really for myself and for stock and for, we get some people that call local photographers for stock. And well, that's one of the things. Some of the stuff that I've shot for festival is on the LED website. I've been in a Acadiana profile. The pictures that the one in Acadiana is using this time is a couple of mine. So the stuff that, the festival will provide photos because they always have an official photographer, but if somebody's looking for a little something different. So that's usually what I get is some stock stuff. But it's kind of one of those things is you have to, kind of a rite of passage for Lafayette photographers that you have to go shoot festival for at least a few years.
What do you think it is about this festival that's made it survive for so long?
I think what it brings to Lafayette, I know that as a local, it's super, super, super important for our town. I mean, it has literally changed the landscape of Lafayette and definitely of downtown. I was just having a conversation that I really don't know if downtown would have survived without Festival because it brings something into, to downtown every year. And it's because of it that they did streetscape and they built the permanent stages. In 2002, I was actually official photographer for festival during festival for CA Guitars, and they brought in some guitar geeks will know what I'm talking about. But Ken Parker from Parker Fly Guitars, Larry Fishman from Fishman Pickups, George Gruen, like big names, and they were around downtown and kind of floating around through the crowd, and they loved it. I've met a lot of people that I've met a few people over the years that have moved here because of festival, and it's super, super important. I like to say something that I found interesting that we were kind of talking over the last few years is that when Givers played festival, was that they are of the age that they grew up with festival. They're probably getting close to 30 now, and they grew up with festivals. They didn't know Lafayette without festival, and they of course are influenced somewhat by the world music scene, and so they have that mix into what they do. And I mean, I couldn't imagine that they would have that without. Maybe they would, but I really think it's kind of tossed in there because of festival.
I also want to mention that me and Travis's festival drink is Jameson and ginger ale. I talk about a lot on the show that that's kind of my favorite way to drink Jameson if I'm not drinking it on the rocks, but specifically for a festival.
You gotta have the Jameson and ginger ale for festival, and they can probably make it for you at the festival at the drink booths too.
There you
for
go.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure they got ginger ale out there.
All right, it's been a long 5 days till next festival and the return of Fillecation. How do you even say it?
I think it's Phil because it's Festival International and an Asian kitchen, and it exists as that, I guess. We're downtown on Vermilion Street. Our artists this year are Herbro, Christiane Johnson, and of course myself in the studio. So if you come by next year, I think we'll still be. Or if you're listening on the way to festival to catch the very end, we're on Vermilion. You'll see the big garage door open, and we'll be around for some art walks too. But come check out and purchase some art.
All right, till next year. Thanks for joining us. All right, so that was my interview with Travis Gauthier of Zoom Photo Studios. One of the things that I treated everyone to at the studio yesterday was Johnson's Boucanier. They did a couple of pop-ups for festival as well in the dinner time. They did a backbone stew yesterday that I really wish that I would have been able to make it out for, and unfortunately I didn't. But I went yesterday. I got my hangover special, which is the Nenane biscuit, which is the boudin biscuit with cheese and barbecue sauce. And they are also, we're doing the lamb pastrami. If you follow them on Facebook and you ever see that they are doing the lamb pastrami biscuits, go and get one. Do yourself a favor and do it. And one of the things that he had done the previous night with the pop-up dinner is he made a lamb pastrami hash. So it's basically the lamb pastrami with potatoes. And he gave me a little bit to try yesterday when I went. It was so good. I was imagining it with a fried egg on top. So I think if it was popular and people really liked it, there's a chance that whenever they do the lamb pastrami, it'll be something that they'll put on the menu for future visits. Everyone, we were eating on those biscuits again this morning. It's festival, so there's a lot of partying going on. So we definitely needed a good boudin biscuit to help soak up all the alcohol and get us ready for the day. Like I said, a lot of the restaurants around festival in the downtown area do different things to kind of join in on the festival spirit. They'll do different pop-ups. They have special menus. So it's really cool how everyone comes together for a Festival International and does something to make it their own and welcomes people in and, takes advantage of that amount of people being downtown. It's really a cool thing to see. We are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have our interview with Randy, the owner of Tiffiany Cheesesteaks. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL.
The best tasting radio show in all of South Louisiana. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPAL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and we've been doing a wrap-up of the past 5 days of Festival International and what I have been eating. As I've said before, some people go for the music, some people go for the food, some people go for the shopping. I mostly go for the food, and then I kind of go for the shopping. Unfortunately, I don't watch a lot of the musical acts, that are out and about. I do want to say something that I did get today, and I wanted to mention it when I was talking about Johnson's earlier. There is an artist in Lafayette, and I am so sorry I do not have her name. She was selling she does little landmark ceramic plaques of different buildings in Acadiana, and she does a lot of the different restaurants that are in Acadiana. So there's La Fonda's, there's Social, Charlie G's. She had a Johnson's Bouquiniere one, and I went ahead and got that one to start my collection. I want to try to get all of the restaurants that she has in town because I just thought that was so cool that she does those. And that's one of the many types of vendors that you can find out at Festival International. My next interview is going to be with Randy, who is the owner of Tiffiany Cheesesteaks. She brought cheesesteaks to Lafayette. We have not had cheesesteaks here, and she brought it to downtown Lafayette, part of the booming restaurant scene that's happening on Jefferson Street. We talk a little bit about the controversy with Cheese Whiz versus Provolone cheesesteaks. Some say that it's not a true Philly cheesesteak unless it has provolone. Some say that it's not a true one if it has Cheese Whiz. And this is... It's funny because it actually spurred a debate on the Lafayette Food Junkie Facebook page about this topic. Some were saying that she is a fan of the Cheese Whiz, which I am also a fan of the Cheese Whiz. And some were saying that it's not a true Philly cheesesteak if it has Cheese Whiz. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is a huge controversy that they have in Philadelphia as well. So to say one is better or more authentic than the other, you can't say that because both of them are considered Philly cheesesteaks. We just happen to have the Cheese Whiz version here in Lafayette, which I'm totally okay with. I'm a fan of the Cheese Whiz. I actually woke up this morning a festival, and the first thing that I wanted was a cheesesteak. So I went over there and got one. And my only complaint the first time I had them was that I felt like they didn't have enough Cheese Whiz. So I asked for extra Cheese Whiz. It was worth the extra 50 cents. It was loaded down with Cheese Whiz. And I loved that sandwich that I had this morning, and it completely hit the spot. So I'm so glad that she's downtown and she's doing this here in Acadiana. So here is my interview with Ramsey of Phillyana Cheesesteaks.
Okay, joining me now is Ramsey Bowen, who is the owner of Phillyana Cheesesteaks, one of Lafayette's newest dining establishments downtown. This is her first festival international being open, and she's taken the time out of her schedule to join me before the madness starts. Thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome, Tiffany. Thanks for coming.
Okay, so how has it been so far? This is the Saturday of festival before. It's kind of the calm before the storm. What has the Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday night been like?
The funnest days of my life. It has been so much fun. It has been people from around the world. I've heard so many different accents, and I love it.
And this isn't only your first festival. You've only been open a few weeks, too. So it's kind of throwing you in, and welcome to downtown.
Welcome to Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, you said you were kind of losing your voice a little bit because you've been talking to every customer, and I will vouch for that. She is super friendly and talks to everyone that walks through the door. I think that's part of being a good restaurant owner, though.
Well, and what it is Southern hospitality, and I wanted to mix and fuse together Philly and Louisiana, and I want to give everybody a down-home welcome. So our favorite thing to do is yell Philly in the house when somebody from Pennsylvania comes in, or Philadelphia, or anywhere in Pennsylvania, because they know a cheesesteak and they get this welcome and they love it. And that's what our city is all about, a big Southern love.
So Philly cheesesteaks are actually very new for Lafayette. We've never had a Philly cheesesteak restaurant as far as I know. How did this idea come about?
Love of the cheesesteak. I love cheesesteaks. I've had them anywhere I go. I'll get one. I lived in Houston for a while, and I could get some good ones. I worked a lot in Philadelphia, so I would get the South of Philly ones. And I just love them. And when I moved to Lafayette one day, I really, really wanted one, and there was no place to be found. So it was actually on the beach in Jamaica with my friends from Philly that I said, Lafayette does not have a cheesesteak place. And they said, put one. And that was about 8 years ago. And I said, Phillyana, and it stuck. And I just couldn't, the dream just would not die. It was like a little seed in my heart that just kept blooming and blossoming. And now it's real.
How have the locals taken to it? And you've also had some people from Philadelphia come in and try the cheesesteaks as well. How have they been responding to it?
Great. I think it's phenomenal, the response I've gotten. But what's really crazy is how many transplants we have from Pennsylvania and how they found me. And I get at least one or two a day. And they really, really, I've gotten some great response, some great feedback. And it's just been a good experience so far.
What have been some of your best sellers?
The Phillyana is definitely our best seller because a lot of people from here have not had a true Philly cheesesteak, so I tell them to start with that. And then going down the menu, we've added a little southern flair to it. The cochon de boeuf is a favorite because it has a grilled boudin patty with the steak and cheese. So also the Ragin' Cajun has crumbled cracklin and red peppers, and it is just delicious.
Besides the sandwiches, you guys also have cocktails and you have French fries. And I've actually had your French fries. The Bootylicious French fries were my favorite. I want to go back and try the ones that have the crawfish etouffee on it. What have been most popular with the French fries?
Bootylicious, definitely. It's Boston butt pulled pork in this succulent gravy. It's so delicious with sour cream and chives. And it's over cheddar melted crispy little shoestring fries. I mean, it just doesn't get better than that.
So maybe if you're having problems in the booty department, this this dish will help you become bootylicious.
Yes, and if you work downtown, you can just walk it off to work.
And if you happen to be out at festival, you know, you're dancing and walking and working it off anyway. I always say festival calories don't count.
Right.
And I am planning a massive juice cleanse for next week to detox from, and she's drinking juice right now as we speak. And you were telling me about one of your cocktails. It's a tea cocktail. What's all in that?
Yes, it's our Philly tea. It's Deep Eddy sweet tea vodka, a little lemonade, and Not Your Father's ginger ale with some muddled mint. It is so refreshing. You really need it during these festival days.
Yeah, you were actually saying you can't taste the alcohol at all, and that's a little bit deadly.
It's a little bit scary. Be careful. Have one.
Okay, so there's been some controversy when it comes to the Philly cheesesteak. There's the camp that is all about the whiz, the cheese whiz, which you are a supporter of. All the sandwiches here have the cheese whiz. I know somebody said some of them have the provolone as well, right?
Oh yes, so you can get the sandwich with any type of cheese. I wanted to introduce the whiz because that's what in the 215 area code, that's what they do, and it is grilled with the meat on the grill, and you don't really see it, but it's really gooey and it's there.
Yeah. I am pro cheese whiz. I will say that. I'm pro cheese anything. So yes, provolone, but when I think of a Philly cheesesteak, I'm thinking of cheese whiz on it. So I am very pro cheese whiz camp. What's hilarious is that it even started a little debate on the Lafayette Food Junkie Facebook page about Team Cheese Whiz, Team Provolone. It's funny, the things that we fight about in Lafayette, especially being food.
Well, look, I am pro Cheese Whiz, obviously. I think it's liquid gold. And provolone is great. It's just so much more milder. But you definitely have your choice here. I just wanted to come out of the gate with the whiz and then kind of start introducing, you can create your own, but we won't do that until after festival.
If I ask for you to just drop the whole jar of Cheese Whiz on my sandwich, would y'all do that?
We certainly would for you, Tiffany.
Okay, well, I'm going to do that next time I come. Thank you so much for joining me today.
You are so welcome. Thanks for talking to me. It's been fun.
All right.
All right, and that was my interview with Ramsey, the owner of Tiffiany Cheesesteaks. Gotta love that whiz on that cheesesteaks. I'm Camp Cheese Whiz all the way. So the Worst Beer Garden open during festival as well. If you guys have been driving down Jefferson Street and wondered what was going on to the side there with a lot of construction, it looked like a little trailer going up over there. That's the Worst Beer Garden. So it opened up during festival. It's really cool. I'm not a beer drinker, but they have wine on tap, and they also have a pretty cool bar menu. And Chef Jeremy Connor was out there for festival, putting out some poutine, some boudin, some sausage, really nice food to go with drinking beer. And another cool thing that they have going on back there is they have little vendor booths. So I don't know if they're going to do it maybe just for Art Walk, maybe on the weekends, but people could rent out these vendor booths and sell stuff during festival. And one of the vendors was this place called Nanny Pearl. About 3 years ago, I had a follower message me about this place and tell me that it was some of the best cupcakes that she's ever had. Now, Nanny Pearl sells jewelry, they sell hair accessories, and they do cupcakes. And their cupcakes are really gorgeous. They're very photogenic cupcakes that she also happens to sell with these other things that she does. This is another business that you can find on Facebook. Although I feel like the Instagram is more prevalent with Nanny Pearl, so maybe find them on Instagram. And I got to try 4 cupcakes. The only one that I've gotten to eat so far was the pecan bourbon, and it was pretty tasty. There's a swamp pop one in there, a chocolate one, a coconut. Travis ate the sprinkled cupcake one, and he gave it a thumbs up of approval. So go check them out out as well. We are going to take another break, and when we come back, we have our last interview with Carrie, who is the director of the Lafayette Downtown Restaurant and Bar Association. So come back to us. It's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
From Boudin to the best burgers Acadiana has to offer, it's the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL.
Welcome back to the Lafayette Food Junkie Show on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. I'm your host, Tiffiany Decou, and we have been talking about Festival International 2016. It is the 30-year anniversary of the festival, and we've been talking about all the different food things that we've been eating this past weekend. So coming up is my interview with Carrie Walker, who is the director of the Downtown Lafayette Restaurant and Bar Association. And we talk a lot, we talk about poutine in this segment. And if you're not familiar with poutine, it's fries with gravy with cheese curds on top. So with poutine in Canada, it is argued that the best poutine comes from a gas station and is best eaten at 3 o'clock in the morning, which the beer garden, the Worst Beer Garden, is serving traditional poutine. It has the light chicken-based gravy, real heavy, nice to soak up all that alcohol. They are also doing they did an off-menu one that you could get as well called the Boutine, whereas with that you could get boudin on top. So in Canada, in the United States, when people make poutine, a lot of times they put all these crazy toppings like goat cheese and bacon, and they make it really super fancy. Well, in Canada, they don't really like that. They like it traditional, as I said, gas station poutine. And you'll kind of notice a theme with tonight's show: Team Spinach Boat, Team Crawfish Mac Boat, Cheese Whiz on the Philly cheesesteak, provolone cheese on the Philly cheesesteak, fancy poutine, traditional poutine. How wonderful that this is something that people can argue about, and it's also at the same time representative of, well, if you don't like some type of food item, someone out there will create a different version of that food item that you will like, so that everyone has something that they would like to partake in. So I think that that's kind of cool and neat that, people argue about food and the different camps that people have. So here is my interview with Carrie. All right, we are talking with Carrie Walker, who is the director of Downtown Lafayette Restaurant and Bar Association. It's Festival's downtown. I'm sure she has a lot of thoughts on the matter. Thank you for joining us, Carrie.
Hey, Tiffany, thanks for having me.
Okay, so I know that you're a huge food lover like I am. So what have you dined on and really liked over the past 5 days?
Well, yeah, I do. I love food, and I love a few festival drinks and cocktails. I'm an area chair for festival. I am basically living on Jefferson Street and beyond from the start of festival until the last band plays. So over the years, I've kind of really got to know some of the vendors and what's always here. And I know if I'm going to Fado Dough, I'm stopping and getting a festival punch. That is my go-to cocktail. It's just so cool. And, it's rum and love, like you and I had a conversation about before. It's just so refreshing. The weather's been so great. But once you get couple drinks, you're looking for something to eat. We, coming out on Wednesday, even though there was some rain, that's nothing that a couple boots and a jacket can't get you through. So we came out a little bit early, and while it was still raining, we hopped into Pops and I had dinner. I had a roast beef po' boy. It was really good because it reminds me of home, the way they make it. It reminds me of my favorite po' boy from there. And my little girl got the mac and cheese. And God bless Mimi. That's all I gotta say. The Mimi's mac and cheese is awesome. After that, we just kind of, for the rest of the weekend, we headed over to the Worst Beer Garden that just opened. Robert and his crew are awesome. That's a really cool concept. I hope people are going to come out on weekends and really just treat themselves to this little gem in downtown. I had some chili cheese fries there. They're awesome. They cut their own fries, and I watched them melt the cheese, so it's not this sauce out of a can. It's fresh.
And Jeremy Connor is actually doing the food there, which was a complete
complete surprise to me. I passed by on Jefferson. I saw that they were selling poutine, and I said, "Ooh, I'm gonna have to go and try that." Go to order it, see Jeremy back there, and it's legitimate poutine. For those, there's like a huge argument in Canada over the fancy poutine, which we see a lot here in the United States, or gas station style poutine. I would say, I don't want to call it gas station style poutine, but I would say it's pretty authentic to being gas station poutine in Canada, and it's good. It's good food. And did you try the poutine or no?
I had a bite of somebody else's like poutine scraps, but even that was good. You know, for me, I'm just such a sucker for chili cheese fries. I went to school in New Orleans for a while, and chili cheese fries just take me back to like dive bars. That the one thing that you absolutely loved at the end of the night was just like a good basket of chili cheese fries. And during festival, you know, you're out here, even if you're just a little tipsy, you know, there really is comfort in a greasy spoon.
I mean, festival calories don't count. I've been saying that all week with all the walking and dancing. Yeah. They don't count.
No, absolutely not. You're out in the sun, you're sweating, you're walking, you'll be at Fado stage, and your friend says, meet me at the main stage, and you gotta haul it across the way. So you earned it. You earned that, you know, fried whatever it is you want to indulge in. Also, you know, I'm sad because I kept telling myself I love Pamplona's paella. And I didn't get it earlier in the weekend, and they're sold out now. Wow. Yeah, like they've had a really successful weekend. So it was nothing that a little bit of blackberry lemonade couldn't make up for. So definitely got myself one of those to treat myself to. And when it comes to like food vendors, one vendor that we went to this year that they've been here in the past and I hadn't tried before was the crepes a la carte. Yeah. My little girl, you know, it's hard to find something for kids at a festival. It's hard to spend $8 on something a 5-year-old will eat. But, right. I mean, who doesn't love bread and cheese and bacon? So that crepe, that bacon and fromage crepe is so good. And then, of course, we had to treat ourselves to a Nutella crepe. You know, I think when I head out of here, I'm going to go get myself a little bit of cool down and head on over to Carpe Diem and see if I can get a scoop of gelato just to beat the heat.
That is such a good idea, and I think that I may take your lead on that and go get a gelato before I leave downtown today. Being a food lover, as we've mentioned before, becoming director of the Downtown Lafayette Restaurant and Bar Association's got to be a dream job. What's been going on with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's really great working with our members and getting the word out in the community that we exist. We exist to complement the downtown community and really promote the area. Something that's coming in the pipeline for us that we had last year was Uncle Sam's Jam, which is our big 4th of July outdoor concert and fireworks show. That's going to happen on actual July 4th this year, Monday. So mark your calendars. It's a free event. It's family friendly. We're going to have great live music, food, drinks, activities for kids, and of course, an awesome fireworks display at the end of the night.
That sounds like fun. Oh my God, I can't wait till the 4th of July.
I know. And you know, we're really excited because Dat Dog is opening soon. And I know they were out here this weekend. I might have to squeeze in one more food stop and head down to Dat Dog. But, you know, hey, nothing says 4th of July like hot dogs. So we'll see.
This is very true. And I mean, all of these restaurants have been coming in downtown. This is going to be great for the bar and Restaurant Association, as I messed that up, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, I totally get it. No, it's awesome. Like, we are so happy to have new members and have new places for people to come downtown, just really showing that downtown is vibrant, it's alive, and this is a place that you can come on a weekday, on a weekend, during the day, at night, whenever, and just come, stay, play, and just really enjoy this area that is rich in culture and has a lot to offer to the community.
Carrie, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you get that hot dog in, and I'm going to join you for gelato later, I think.
Thanks for having me, Tiffany. It's been great. Have a good festival. All
right, and that was my interview with Carrie with the Downtown Lafayette Restaurant and Bar Association. That's about it for everything that has happened at festival. I didn't get some of the food vendors in really quickly. The dirty dip at the Taco Sisters truck was amazing. The pulled pork nachos that we mentioned earlier during Travis's interview from Blanchard's Barbecue was huge and massive. So it's another festival is in the books. I can't wait till next year. I can't wait to see what is brought downtown for next year and what all the vendors have in store for us next year. I also want to mention that Bread and Circus Provisions reached their Kickstarter goal of making enough money to bring pizza to the masses. So their pizza oven is being delivered from, I believe, Sicily, and they're going to have their first pizza pop-up on May 4th. It's going to be from 6 to 10 p.m. and it's going to be a bit of a soft opening for the restaurant that's coming. So it'll be a limited menu, but you'll get to preview what is in store when they start making pizzas. And let me tell you, their pizzas are amazing. So this is a good thing. All right, that's our show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Join us next week, Sunday at 6 p.m. This has been the Lafayette Food Junkie Show. This has been Tiffiany Decou on News Talk 96.5 KPEL. And as always, happy eating, Acadiana.